Yeah, though. Peace, YouTube. What's good? It's your boy, Mert. Let's get into it. All right. Today, we're going to talk about a word called paradigm and how it relates to you and your reality. Okay. Essentially, in my interpretation of the word paradigm, I'm going to give you the definition that's readily available. I'm going to put it on a video or whatever. But my interpretation of it is everything you know and feel and relate how you feel about everything you know and how it relates to what you're going through at said time, at any time, right? So everything you know, feel, and understand how everything from person, colors, sounds, light, smells, memory, everything that's going on inside of your mind, everything that's going on inside of your mind, subconscious and conscious mind, everything that's going on in there, how you feel about that makes you who you are. That encapsulation mental part of it is called the paradigm. So you as an individual, which is likened to the all, has a paradigm shift, right? So that would be how you see things, right? After same thing, but you just see it completely different. And then we have a global paradigm shift, right? And that's the way that the globe, obviously, like something went into the world and changed the way the world sees things, right? So sometimes it happens from the top down, which is the all coming into your reality, or sometimes it comes from within and you project outwards and change the reality, right? So let me give you an example of how sometimes it comes from within and now you can change the reality. Um, yeah, uh, keep up, right? So let's say you have a friend, right? And your friend brings something new to you, right? Like a new sneaker, a new sound, a new car, new whatever, right? And you like, damn, I never seen this. What's this? He's like, it's the Tesla. You never seen the Teslas, the new electric cars. They had them out. They've been out for a couple of years. I never seen this, and it's pretty cool. Boom, boom, boom. You like it. You take it in. You see it. You understand about it. You get the story, the name, and all that, right? So next day you go outside. You driving down the street. You see a Tesla. Tesla. They all over the place now, right? You're like, damn, how come he was always out there? Like I didn't see it. Yeah, your mind had no reference, had no need to hold those random cars that you had nothing to care about while you were driving until your friend brought it into your world. Right, and now you can see it, and then you have a reference point. And now when you're out and about, you start to see it, and you can remember the friend. You might even forget him or her over time, but still remember the Tesla because it's now that concrete in your reality. Because sometimes you be like, damn, I don't know who told me this. I don't know where I got that from, or I don't know if I seen this. Especially when you living long and doing things, you just sometimes those pings that are not the significant part of the memory at that particular point in which you're discussing said thing, right? So a global paradigm shift would be like terrorism, 9/11, right? How that affects everyone. Then the other one would be the COVID-19 and so forth, how that affected everyone, right? So those are two big global paradigm shifts that affected the population to some magnitude, whether you understand it or not. There were other ones that were already rolling before we got here, right? And inside of your family, some of those paradigms could be considered tradition, right? Now, in my way, because I got a brain or a mind, I should say, that sees stuff all the time. Everything that someone is saying is always being illustrated in my mind. I can see it, right? So having a discussion with one of my best friends, NFO Greasy. Um, Go on SoundCloud, type in NFO underscore Greasy and pull up the music on there. Got like 3 tracks on there, or 4, whatever. They all fire, tune in. I'll play them on my intros every so often. Anyway, I was having a conversation with him, and um, he has a type of brain that's so concreted into a reality, a certain reality, right? We can call it the base model reality for the sake of, right? And he sees it just like that. So me, I see more. I tend to hear more than what was said. I tend to see more than what was seen. I tend to do that, right? And um, So he's like, damn, how do you know what you're saying is real? I said, and he stumped me with that. I'm not even gonna lie. That probably was one of the reasons why I even took a break on some of that YouTube. That's not the primary reason, but that how do I know it's real? Really, it did something to me. I don't know why. It felt like it knocked me off of my stride because, like, damn, that was a good question. Like, how do I know that it's real? Right. So, this is how I know things are real because if I can illustrate it, right, by putting it on a piece of paper, right, then it can now come into a 3D. I can now pull it off the paper and put it in a model, right? And if I can put it on paper, even in word form, sometimes they can go into the instructions and enter someone's paradigm, and they can now live it out, and then them themselves will probably create the thing said past that, because he who can't do teaches, and he who can does, right? So this is what it is. So my brain tends to see things in an illustrative type of manner. So to me, when I hear the word tradition, I tend to think of a train, right? And you just wake up on the train, right? Like in a movie or in a dream, you're on the train and you're looking around, and the thing that you're on is moving. People already on there. They got their own. It was already up. It was already doing things. The train has a destination. It had a point. It had a destination, and now you on it. And now you awoke. You're awoke. So now you're asking questions. You're saying, hey, "Where we going? This and that. Why this? Why that?" You see what I'm saying? So that's the tradition. So a lot of us just wake up on a train and just be there riding the tradition. And then when somebody asks you, like, why you, why you going this direction? Or why you doing that? You're like, oh, this is what my grandma, tradition. You see what I'm saying? So that tradition could also be looked at. All right, all right, all right. So before we go there, let's go back to the word paradigm again. I want to make sure that this is the topic, right? Because it's going to drip into other dimensions of the reality. Because obviously, we're talking about your mind, and your mind is holding everything with multiple endings and tentacles and so forth. And that's an illustration there. But the reality, you have nerve endings, infinite nerve endings. Every time you learn something, it sparks, whether it's something you learn for that moment, and then because if you don't use it, you lose it. This is universal laws. Anything less to itself will destroy. So the more you do something, that's why repetition leads to perfection. And the more you do something, the stronger these neurons fuse together. So those tentacles, those neurons, is what your mind is holding on to the reality like this here, right? So uh, sheesh. Oh, that was an illustration to show the truth. So we can illustrate the mind. You put the mind in the yin yang form, right? You will see a left and a right. Called left brain, right brain. And it gave attributes to the white side, and it gave attributes to the dark side. The dark side will be considered your subconscious. And in certain texts, it referred to it as the underworld, right? So these are things that the people who understood it, they had an illustrative mind, and they created a way to describe the undescribable. So when depending on how you are when you walk in and read and see these things, and you do not know what's behind the reason why the presenter presented to you in such a manner, you would just be entertained or scared away or indoctrinated or whatever comes with it, but you won't necessarily have your own free will to render from all the different possibilities in which this thing could present itself in, for you now to have a better choice. Because in legal form, there are conditions in which a contract can be null and void: stress, coerce, and coercion. Right now, coercion, stress. Obviously, if the person is stressed out, or if your family has been recently gunned down, and you're in the record label about to sign a deal, you're really not in a business sound mind. You're not in a sound mind if you're grieving. And the devil, sorry, people tend to like to catch you at your lowest point when they know. So stuff could happen outside of your world, and here comes this guy with a paper that's promising you fortune while you under some type of pain, and you take that and move back, and before you know it, you know, we're gonna go on today. All right. So uh so the person who wrote that had that same metaphorical type of mindset, right? So uh, Everything everything that's understood can relate to you. It can be a place on your body, an aspect of your mind. It can be, if it's not, it can be created and used as a tool or a weapon in the matrix in which you are now concrete and hardwired in. Right? Because we are what we touch. In this reality, we are in the third dimension, some may say. And then when we go to sleep, we go into the fourth dimension because that's more than likely the next step after this. It's almost like when you say the matrix, you're saying mother, you're saying a womb. So inside, when I was a child, because the story is the one this universal story means that every human went through this same filtration. So that same story and interpretation would not be unique to me. It would fit everyone. So as a baby is inside its mother for that period, right? However long that baby's conscious of or whatever inside of the mom, right? And now it gets to the point where it can see a little bit, like seeing colors and hearing sounds and all of that. But it doesn't. In this world, it makes so much sense because that mind made it so it can survive. Like it just what it was. It's aware, so it's learning and developing. It's developing a memory, right? The auto process of heart, lung, and all that stuff. The automatic part of you is already there. It's the stuff. These are contracts that the underworld made, so that when you come above, you be good. You follow what I'm saying? So now you come out, and it's a whole new matrix, a whole new world. Right now, what you were now inside, you're now outside, and those stuff that you was hearing, you now can see in better detail. And then in that same process, as you were a child, you would learn certain words and certain things that would mean something to you as a child because it helped you as a child. And then when you grow up, those words and things that they gave you doesn't mean the same anymore because you're grown now and you're now exposed to more of the reality and so forth. So if you look at it in gradual scales, you can see it go from the garden, uh, the garden to the elements to the higher aspect of self, right? And then you bring it to the universe, right? So you get the kindergarten, you get elementary, you get high school, you get higher learning or the universities, right? So it's all right there. And that is a degree. The degree is a term that can slide into masonry. Remember, I said in other certificates that other syndicates and other uploads, other podcasts, and other giveaways and other information giveaways. Let's call it what it is. You see what I'm saying? Anyway, we and other. What was I saying? Lost my train of thought. God damn you, Nathaniel. All right, what was I at? Don't worry, I'm gonna get it back because I live here. This is my house. All right. So the words had a different meaning. The Masons go into degree. Remember, I was saying that if a word shares a meaning in another realm, that's a bridge to that other side. So a degree is a Masonic degree, you get up to the 33rd degree. We also have temperature, right? Now, when you look at the thermometer, you see the zero and then you have notches that they dignify as a degree, right? Now, that degree could also be in temperature or height, an angle opening, right? So if your mind is narrow, that is the degree in which you will see the reality. And the broader your mind is, the more the reality you can see, right? So if we look at that through another degree, like I just said, the elementary and all that, how that parallels to each other, right? So like parallel universes, depending on how you, the supreme, the highest form of the intelligence, the highest form of the reality, the most sacred thing known to us right now. You are the cutting edge space age project. You are, this is the parallel and the paradox in which you are. You solid, liquid, gas, past, present, and future. You are everything in one. You are the youngest you would ever be. You see how that degree changed? You see how they got you thinking about death? They even got it in your mouth. They say die it when you can live it. How is the way you live? Death is inevitable. It's coming. So what do we tell death? Not today. So what you are doing is you're trying to ward off the inevitable for as long as you can to try to pocket as much as you can create while you are here, right? Now, depending on what paradigm you're under, you may not never know that. You may die before that because you prescribe to some negative interpretation of the reality, right? So once again, the reason why we put something in a circle is so that what's inside the circle can be understood. Your mind is infinite. When we diagrammed your mind in a circle, right? And in that circle, we made the yin yang, made it black and white with the two different aspects of itself and the opposite sides of itself. But when you put that in a 3D model and animate it, because life is moving, you are a human being. Your being is constantly being pushed from the trajectory of your entry point through this Stargate. Wow, sir. The different degrees in which we cannot understand everything that we're talking about, right? Through that portal, that Stargate, leaving your energetic frequency, which is unique to you. Oh, man. So when I say I love you, it's not an understatement. This ain't nothing to play with. My position is king. Make her position as queen designated. Her smile was resonated. Just the type of shit that make the peasants hate it. I couldn't pick a better pair if I sketched it. I ain't do much. Throw my arms up and catched it. Left hand shit dyslexic. I'm God's best pick. Standing onward on some fresh kicks. Only when I die, my YouTube gonna be on Netflix. That's fucked up. I gotta die for my YouTube to be on Netflix too, man. Let me tune in. It's your boy, NFO, man. If you like what I'm doing, hit the like button. For real, for real, for real. You know what I mean? Tune in, man. Leave a comment, man. Let's do this YouTube thing for real. I'm gonna do it because it's what I got. I like doing it for real. I like doing it. I don't even know why I be falling back for real, but I like doing it. Right. So with that said, man, that's my abundance. That's what I'm gonna tap into. That's what I'm gonna give it to you. But on this highway, on this exchange, man, I'm asking for a handshake. You dig what I'm saying? So shake my hand, man, by hitting the light. Just shake my hand. If you see me in the world, you're gonna shake my hand, right or wrong. So hit the light, dog. Stop from around, for real. All right. So let's get back. Where we at? So the paradigm. So now the way they label your paradigm, they might label your paradigm under the terminology as gangster, black, female, male, and then when you look at female and male really quick, we look at the yin yang, and we get the masculine principle, which is considered positive. Then we get the feminine principle, which is considered negative. And then they take that into the reality and make negative seem like a bad thing. So now when she has to meditate on herself and she sees the reality with all these different variations, and negative seems to have a bad to it, it automatically imputes a little peak of depression into your crystal ball, which is your paradigm, right? So it's ways that you have to clean up your reality so that when you see these words, you would know what it means. So negative means empty, right? Or vacant, right? Or fertile. Better yet, we'll be talking about you, right? Now, male on that part will now become the animator, become the seeder, the planter, um, the light bearer, hence him being the sun, right? You being the earth, and the baby being the seed, right? The seed grows into you and then gets pushed out of that portal, right? That forges everybody. So to that seed, we are the gods, and it was made in our likeness. Paradigm shift, baby. Tune in. I ain't done. I'm right back. But that's how we gonna end paradigm shift. NFO Merc, subscribe. Thank you. I got over 100 subscribers, by the way. I was supposed to blow the whistle. I was supposed to go pause. I was supposed to go. I'm out, man. Peace. One.